Boom, we are back with another edition of the Quarantinecast. I'm like always, I'm really excited for this one. I've taken some time off. I was on vacation, and here we are. I'm back, and joining me today is UFC middleweight Andre Petroski. How are you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time. Like I was saying off air, I appreciate you taking the time on your Sunday to jump on. It's been a hell of a year for you, man. Describe this past year for you. Sum it up, if you don't mind, just in a couple sentences, what it's been like.
Yeah, so I guess the past year, but aside from the obvious, we were in a quarantine and whatnot, but I joined a new team. I joined Renzo Gracie Philly in Kensington, and yeah, man, it's just been crazy. Like in the past year with this team, we're 6-0 in the UFC, 5 finishes. I don't know why, they're not talking about our team more, to be honest. Why aren't we being nominated for Team of the Year? I don't know any other team that's 6-0 that has 5 finishes in the past year, But it's been awesome, man. Just keep getting better. More opportunities are coming, and, yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, I know you've been around. I mean, you've trained at other gyms, bigger gyms, Sanford, et cetera, et cetera. What makes this gym, what separates them from everyone else? I mean, you've trained everywhere. What makes this one special?
I think a lot is the structure. We got classes all day long, which is every big gym. But, all these guys, we're all from Philly. So we're not like a traveling gym, like a gym where guys, come and do a camp at. Like, that's not really us. We're all from here. And, a lot of these guys have been learning from the same coaches, for the past however many years.
I want to talk a little bit about the obvious. I mean, you got to compete on The Ultimate Fighter. It's something that I think so many fighters watched growing up. What was it like, living that experience and being in the house?
I loved it, man. It was just like simple, you know what I mean? It was a simple life. There was no distractions. Like, my life's chaos. I got kids and I work, and it's like training is chaos all the time. So to be put in an environment like that where, there's no work, you don't even have a phone, you don't have to stay in touch with anyone. Like, you have no responsibilities but to show up every day and get better. And you get the opportunity to work with the best coaches in the world. That's once in a lifetime opportunity. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Was there any awkwardness? I mean, obviously you got to fight Aaron and Brian who were both living with you. Was there any awkwardness knowing that, you're living with people that you've got to compete against?
No, not for me. Like, I didn't have a problem with anyone, to be honest. They might have had a problem with me, but I had no problems with anyone.
It's known as the hardest tournament in all of sports. I mean, you're making it seem like it wasn't even that big of a deal. Do you feel like it was difficult, as difficult as everyone says it is?
Nah, honestly, I still feel like I should have won it. Like, if we were to play it back, like, I still feel like I would have bet on myself, like 100%. I still feel like, given a mistake here and there, I beat Brian, and it is what it is. You saw me dominate the first round, so I'm sure we'll get a rematch one day, but it was challenging, like missing my daughter, but overall, I thought it was a very enjoyable experience personally.
It's not every day that guys lose on the house and still get the opportunity to compete. I think it says a lot about, the impression you made on the UFC and fans that you still got the opportunity to go and compete after the fight, after the house. Were you expecting to get an opportunity to still compete in the UFC, or did you think you'd have to go and possibly compete 1 or 2 more times?
So when I first lost my semifinal, a lot of the producers and people came up to me and was like, don't worry about it. You're going to be on the finale for sure. Don't worry about it. And then about a month or 2 goes by, and I saw that the card was announced and it was full. And I was like, to my manager, Jason House, I was like, man, this don't look good. Like, what they said this, blah, blah, like it doesn't, and he's like, yeah, you're right. Like, we'll start looking other places. So I didn't think that I was going to get signed. And then obviously I got the call 10 days before, but I was still in the gym.
Did it matter that you got? I mean, obviously you knew Michael. I mean, he was on the house for a little bit. Would it have mattered if it was someone else, or did the short notice even really matter? You just wanted to be in the UFC.
Honestly, short notice or not, it doesn't really matter. To be honest, I would have fought anyone in the house. I like the way that I match up against all of the 85-pounders in the house.
You competed against Michael Gilmore. You got a 3rd round finish. How did it feel to get in there and compete in the biggest stage?
It's good, man. I prayed for days like this. These are like, I definitely prayed to be doing the shit that I'm doing right now. So I feel incredibly lucky.
I know I've asked this to a few guys, and a lot of them say that it's not what they expected. I mean, now you get to say you're a UFC fighter rather than just a mixed martial artist. Does it feel any different?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely different. Yeah, man, it's definitely like a whole nother level for sure.
You obviously got to compete on the same card as a teammate. Pat got the opportunity to compete with you.
Yeah.
What was it like being on the same card as a teammate?
Yeah, man, and it was new because, like I said, I've only been with that team for a year now, and that was my first time fighting with Pat, so it was cool to see him. He did his thing and he performed, and I'm super proud of him. I know that he overcame some adversity leading up to that fight, so it was good, man. My coaches were already going to be out there, so we had a whole team with us, and that helps, man. It helps when you have a bunch of guys out there. Lightens the mood,
Absolutely. It had to feel awesome, too, that you both got your hand raised rather than just one of the two of you.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, our team's been killing it. We're 6-0 in the past year, 5 finishes. We're finishing everyone between me, Sean Brady, Jeremiah Wells, Pat Sabatini. It's like I don't know any other team that's doing that right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a few guys coming up, too, on the regional scene. Eddie's fighting. Morgan Kratzy's fighting. They're both fighting, I think, at the end of the in October, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of really promising guys there that can hopefully make a big statement.
Hoping to have Joe Pfeiffer will be back pretty soon. He was on the Contender Series and dislocated his elbow. He should be back pretty soon. We got a bunch of amateurs that are real tough, that are really on the verge of turning pro. Manny Morales. We got another good pro at 85, Miles Lee. He's going to be fighting in the next month or two. He's 2-0 right now. So we got a dynasty building here in Philly.
Yeah, and I mean, you kind of grew up in Philly. I mean, your entire career pretty much was at Art of War. Your entire pro career up until your fight there in LFA. What was it like competing for Art of War? I know those guys pretty well.
Yeah, they really took care of me. Mike Bickings and especially Dave Feldman. Feldman and Bickings, yeah, they really took care of me, man. They built me up right, to be honest. I wasn't fighting a killer every single fight, but I had tough fights too. And my amateur and pro career. I had close fights. I had fights where I went out there knowing I was better than the guy, and I had fights that I was worried. So I think that that's important coming up. I think it's good to fight for different promotions and go away. But I think it's good to have a hometown promotion where you can sell tickets and make money so that you can focus on getting better.
Now that you're here, man, you're on the biggest stage. You just got your first UFC win. Timeline wise, what is next for you? Do you want to get back in there quickly, or do you just want to feel things out?
Like me, I want to fight this weekend. But that's just because I'm impatient and that's just me. But I do think that I would benefit greatly from having a full camp.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you haven't had in your last 3 fights. I mean, obviously on the Ultimate
Right.
Fighter, you didn't even know who you were fighting until a few days before, and then
Yeah.
Gilmore as well. What's the biggest difference do you think a full camp will make? Is it a mental thing, or do you think it's a physical thing?
I mean, I've been like, I had a lot of time to work on my weaknesses as far as like I knew that, I made a lot of mistakes in the footwork, and I spent a lot of time on that. But just to continue to improve on some of the holes in my game, and just really get solid on where I'm really already confident. I mean, we're still working every day, but it will be. It's different when you have a name and a face. You know, when you have an opponent, it's just different. It's easier to be focused. It's easier to, it's more motivating, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about last night. I mean, it was crazy. Your coach got to go out there and fight. Obviously, Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega went to war. It was a crazy fight. Ortega ended up coming up short. What was your thoughts on the fight?
Awesome fight, first of all. Tremendous fight, by far deserved fight of the night. That was insane. Next to the Marias first round, it was definitely, like, no doubt fight of the night. Man, I mean, Ortega's tough, man. He's really tough. Volkanovski's really tough. They're both incredibly durable and resilient fighters. I thought that I would have liked to have seen Brian try to wrestle more. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a good wrestling coach. Paul Herrera's great wrestling coach, wrestled in Nebraska. I would have liked to have seen him wrestle more. And, like, he'll clinch, but he doesn't shoot double legs. You know, he doesn't really lower his level, shoot single legs or anything. I just think that would have been a situation. I mean, obviously he had many opportunities on the ground, especially in the submissions. I mean, Volkanovski's tough, man. I think if it was anyone else, he would have finished him. But even so, just tightening up some of those finishes, I think that, I mean, he's definitely phenomenal on the ground. And I think that if he just cleans up some of those finishes, that he can beat anyone.
What was it like working with him? I mean, obviously, like you said, he's a wizard on the ground, probably one of the most feared fighters in the entire world on the mats. What was it like working with him day in and day out?
He's very he catered to me. He really took me under his wing. He's a great guy. Yeah, man, he looked out. I think that he kind of respected me because I was like the one person that wanted to fight first. When he asked everyone, who wants to fight, everyone kind of wanted to take a week to get adjusted to Vegas and to cut weight and do this and that. And, I was like, I want to fight. Like, I came out here to fight. Let's do it. I think he respected that. And then I think that he respected me for kind of sticking up for him, like, behind the scenes. When a lot of Volkanovski's fighters were kind of coming at him, coming at his integrity a little bit. But he took care of me, man. He was good teacher. I mean, he comes from Henner. Henner's like incredible. His whole teaching style, he's so enthusiastic. They're just great teachers, great instructors. Everybody talks about the Gracie family, when they were growing up, that, it was a business, and they spent half the time learning jiu-jitsu and half the time learning how to teach jiu-jitsu. So teaching, the ability to teach, it was always hammered home. And they always talk about that. And you can tell a difference when a Gracie is teaching.